Hi, welcome to the Meeting of Minds podcast. I'm Philippa Robinson. So I've been recording a few heavy type episodes lately, and I've decided I want an upbeat one today, and I think it's about time. I think, I talk a lot about healing and healing from trauma and how that is possible. It absolutely is. We don't leave our past behind, but we learn to embrace it, bring it with us, and see what we've learned from it, see all those things. But really, what I wanted to talk to you about today is what else? What do we get from it? What do we get from a healing journey? What is the point of it? Why would one even begin to do that? So, the answer to why would one bother, what do we get from it, is layered like the healing journey itself. But really, there are two things that I really want to talk to you about today, because I think these are the big things. One is freedom. And the second one is joy. Who doesn't want some freedom and joy? I certainly did. I didn't know it was even possible. I didn't know that it was ever going to be for me that I could feel as free as I do today and experience as much joy. I really didn't. And, it hasn't necessarily come easy, but I didn't know those things were possible. So that's why I wanted to come and talk about them today. So freedom, what do I mean when I say that there is freedom in a healing journey? What I mean is that, my experience of my healing journey is that I feel such freedom from things that I didn't even know were weighing me down. So I did not understand at the beginning of my healing journey, which I was thrown into when I lost a lot of the sight in my right eye 5 years ago. I didn't voluntarily decide, actually, I want my life to be better, I'm going to do something about it. It all came sort of like crumbling down around my feet. So that's why I say I was thrown into this journey. But when I started unravelling my past and started working out how much it had affected me, I knew it had affected me. I knew it had had an effect, but I didn't realise that effect was still with me, and how much it had affected me and how much it was still with me. I didn't realise the enormity of the impact it had and was having on me. And that's what I mean about not understanding the weight that I was carrying. And that's funny. I recently did an episode about my relationship with food and my body. And, I talked there about the weight, the WEIGHT of my body, but literally the emotional weight, the emotional weight of the trauma, the neglect, just the impact of everything that I'd experienced. And I did not know how heavy that was weighing on me, and how much it influenced everything that I did, be it in my relationships with my partner, with my children, with my friends, with my colleagues, how it propelled me in my career, in my every decision and waking moment and sleeping moment. Sometimes some of my dreams have definitely come from the trauma I've experienced. So So when I started on my healing journey, I had no idea what was coming. I had no idea of what I would learn about the weight of everything. And if you listen to my episode a few weeks ago where I was talking about the things that have actually been coming up for me recently and the things I've had to learn and how much I am still in my healing journey, on my healing journey, and I was uncovering another layer a few weeks ago, if you listened. And you know, that journey continues, and you know, there will be another layer of freedom to come from that. But the freedom that I experienced after my initial, like say, my first 3 years, the 3 years I had in therapy, and when I learned about how my experiences as a child had led me to be the overachiever, the people pleaser, the good girl, the always putting other people first, the abandoning all my wants and needs to make other people happy. You know, when I learned that those were very much some of my patterns, there are more, but those are definitely some of my most prominent patterns. When I learned where they'd come from and how much they were driving my life, I began to understand that I didn't have to do that anymore. I had a choice. I'm not saying it's just a choice of like, do I want the red one or the green one? Do I want to do this or not? I had to learn to not do those things as much. Still an ongoing lesson. But I had a choice, because I was no longer surviving. I was no longer a child. I mean, I'm an adult woman in my 50s. Of course, I have a choice as to how I behave, how I act, how I react, how I want to live my life. I have all those, I have choices around those things. And I learned as part of my the first big steps on my healing journey, that I had choices and that I could choose me. I could choose what I wanted, what I needed. I could give myself what I needed, what I wanted. I deserved to have what I needed and what I wanted, and that was okay, because I definitely grown up abandoning all those wants and needs and feeling like I had to put those on the back burner, like behind what everybody else needed and wanted, and then maybe if there was anything left over for me, I could have the crumbs that were left. But inevitably there weren't no crumbs left. So I learned all those things, that it was okay to put myself first. A bit radical. It felt radical at the time. And, you know, I am still learning how to make a decision and stick to a decision that puts me first above everybody else, because that's still quite a difficult thing to do. And I don't want to sound like I'm a martyr or I'm some sort of like fucking saint, because I tell you as well, I'm not a saint at all. I purely behaved like that because those were the survival patterns that I'd learned in childhood. Because actually I absolutely was absolutely not a saint, because I was really quite resentful and angry and hurt and full of disappointment and all those things. So, you know, all those survival patterns helped me survive. I mean, I'm here, aren't I? So I did survive, but also they did come at a cost. And I learned that it was okay to be different, do things differently, do it a different way. And the joy, the freedom the freedom to make decisions based on what I want, to give myself that freedom was a bit mind-blowing, really. I mean, it still is a little bit. I've, recently over this, so I'm recording this in end of September 2022, and over this summer I have been going swimming a lot well, actually during the summer when it was really hot, we would go 6, maybe 7 times a week to a local marine lake. So it fills up when the tide, on a high tide, it fills the marine lake up. So the water in there is like sea temperature, and we were going all summer. I was going with a friend of mine, and it was lovely going in there when it was boiling hot. It was just marvellous. And we are still going now as the temperature is really starting to dip, and we're really enjoying it. And I'm hoping we're going to go all winter. That's the plan. So, we'll see whether we make it. And I am choosing to do that. And sometimes I am going with my friend and going swimming when actually some of my family would much rather I was here and doing other things. I don't care. Well, I don't care. I'm prioritizing me and what I need, and I really need to go in that water. I've rediscovered the absolute joy that I feel getting in that water, and rediscovering that I remember how much I loved water as a child, but I was always laughed at for trying, I don't know, I tried water skiing and windsurfing and stuff like that when we were on holiday in Wales as a kid, and I just got laughed at for being rubbish. And I hated being on the beach in a swimming costume. And I talked about my relationship with my body and stuff in a previous episode. And, it took all the joy away for me, being ashamed of my body, and the annual, are we ever going to find a swimming costume that fits you and doesn't look awful, and all that really led me to hate being on the beach and then being in the sea. So I learned to not do that anymore. But this year I have really rediscovered that joy of just being in the water, of being enveloped in the water, feeling that water on my skin, moving in the water. And because it's a marine lake, it's actually obviously right on the coast, and over the seawall you can see the rest of the sea. And we tend to go at the beginning or the end of the day. We've had some amazing sunrise swims and sunset swims, and it's just incredible. And the freedom to do that, to take that time for myself, allow myself to go and do that, even when it's perhaps inconvenient for other people, has been really quite healing, I think. And it's also tinged with an element of, God, why didn't I do this before? And why have I spent all these years doing everything for everybody else? But, regret, that's the word, tinged with regret. But also I can't change that. I can't change what has happened in the past. All I can do is work on now, which obviously is going to inform the future, isn't it? So there is a certain element of regret, but I choose not to dwell on that, and choose to enjoy what is happening in the moment, enjoy the now, and the freedom that I feel in doing that, and the freedom that I feel in making the choice, and the freedom I feel in understanding my patterns and the way that I've behaved in the past and why, and that I no longer need to do that. The freedom then leads to the joy, because the joy that has come from the freedom is is immense. It's allowed me to live in the present, in the here and now, and to find little moments of joy all the time, because those moments of joy are there. We just don't always see them or feel them. We don't have the time. We can't slow down. We can't be in the moment a lot of the time because we are so busy leading our busy lives, because we are told, society tells us that being busy is good, and actually slowing down and being quiet and taking time to notice things is somehow not as good as being busy. In fact, some people would go as far as saying, it's lazy. I mean, it's just, it's incredible the language we use, the language we use, and what we use it around, and how we use it to shape others' behaviour. So we think if we call somebody lazy for doing something, maybe they won't do it anymore. But really, there is joy in every day, if only we can slow down to see it. And I mean things like as I'm recording this now, the sun is just coming out, it's peeking out from behind a cloud, and it's bouncing off that window, and it's just like, oh, the sun's coming out and it's bouncing off the window, and that's making a really nice reflection. And in a minute, it's going to bounce off a piece of blue glass that I've got there, and that's going to be really pretty. So that's a really fabulous moment, because 5 minutes ago the sun wasn't out. And just seeing that moment and being able to just go, oh yeah, look at that, that's really quite beautiful. It's the joy of seeing a rainbow and stopping by the side of the road and just watching the rainbow for a minute or two. It's, the sun on your face as you're out walking, and just taking a moment to feel that warmth on your face. It's the smell of a lovely fresh cup of coffee, or bread baking in the oven, or the smell of your baby's head, or the texture of stroking your dog and feeling your dog's lovely soft ears, or something like that. It's all those lovely things that happen every day that we completely take for granted, and most of the time we don't notice because we're too busy. And those moments are there. I mean, I talk with my clients about slowing down a little bit, and I don't tell people to slow down for the sake of slowing down, but actually, if you can be a bit more intentional with your time and how you live your day, what are you allowing space for? What can come in? And all those, if we can take time out a little bit, then we can experience those moments that will bring us joy. We can tune into our body more and listen to our intuition and know much more what we need, and also listen to the signals that our body's telling us about what we need to eat, which goes back to the eating episode that I did a few weeks ago. So, all these things are related, and no one of them sort of comes in isolation, really. But yeah, the joy of those moments that happen in the everyday ordinary life has moments of joy there, if only we are able to notice them and take stock and experience them and just drink them in. Because joy is like any other emotion. It passes through our body in something like 90 seconds. And so actually the sun's moved on now, but also that instant hit of that sun on that particular part of my window was like, oh, wow. And then you get used to it, and that initial goes, but that's okay, because joy is like any other emotion, which will pass unless we stop it and interrupt it, will pass through our body in the natural course of things in about 90 seconds. And if we are able to be more aware of those moments, we don't need to fear that one going, because another one will be along soon. And we're going to be able to see that one too, and witness that one and feel that one. So the more open we can be to all the joy that there is in our everyday life, the more we can be aware of it, we can feel it, we can drink it in, we can let it pass because we know another moment's coming. But I think we live our lives so busy a lot of the time that we don't get those moments of joy, which is when we end up feeling like, well, I'll just get through this week and then I'll have all my joy on a Saturday. So that might be a big binge going out with people, with friends or whatever, or it might be, I don't know, a big night out, or a meal, or a holiday, saving up for a really nice holiday. And those things are all great as well. Of course they are. But the less joy we have on a day-to-day basis, the more we need those big things, and the more pressure there is on those big things to be good. And the more is riding on those big things, because God, we've waited for that. We've had no joy and we're waiting for that. And the more pressure there is on that, the more there is a chance of it perhaps not going quite so well. And also then when it's over, there's the whole, oh, that's over and now I've got to go back to my joyless life. And there is then sort of the whole grieving, really, the end of that amazing experience. Whereas actually, if we can just let it come and go and flow, then we're kind of in that state a lot more of the time. I'm not saying I'm in those moments of joy all the time either, but I am much more aware of them and can enjoy those moments when they happen, and not feel the desperate need to have big moments in my life, because I am able to experience all those little moments. Yeah, and I didn't before. 5 years ago, before I lost the sight in my eye and had my breakdown, I just wasn't in that place. I was perpetually angry and pissed off and striving so hard for something that I didn't even know what it was that I was striving for. And that's another thing that the freedom has given me. It's taken that desperate striving away, and replaced it with just a healthier version of that striving, I suppose. Yes, I want good things for me and my family to happen, and I'm sure they will. But on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis, I am able to feel the freedom from the weight of my past. It comes back, as I've already talked about in previous episodes. Every now and again it comes back, and I have more to learn. But generally, I experience the freedom from all that weight, and also I am able to experience the joy. And I think it's really important that we have joy, because we do have, as I keep saying, one beautiful life in this body, on this earth. And God, is it our job to find as much joy as we can while we're here. We're not here to be working our asses off and being miserable and acquiring money for the sake of acquiring money, and not really caring who we tread on to get to the top and all those things. we are here for joy, really. I know we can't all have joy all the time, but we can find those little moments. Yeah. And I'm recording this, and my son's upstairs. His room's above my office, and he's gaming, and I can hear him sort of chuckling away with his friends that he's gaming with, and that brings me joy, just to hear him sort of chuckling away with his friend, and he's having a nice time, and that brings me joy to hear him doing that. Don't know, maybe I sound a bit crazy. Wouldn't be the first time, but that for me is the whole point of my healing, and that's what I want for other people, that the point of the healing is to find that freedom and that joy, because boy is my life so much better, so much better than it was. Always room for improvement, I but it's so much better. Okay, that's it for today's episode. Freedom and joy, remember those things. Okay, so what can you do today to bring yourself some freedom, to start building that freedom for yourself? And what can you do to bring you joy? What can you notice that's going to bring you joy? There's your quest for today. Let me know how you get on. I'd love to hear. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here. And if you feel that you would like to work with me in the new year, in January 2023, and interested in what I'm offering, then get in touch and I can put you on the wait list so that you hear from me when I am releasing my next course. I'd love to have you if that's something that you're feeling called to. Okay, take care, have a great week, and be back soon. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to the Meeting of Minds podcast. You can find this podcast in all the usual places. Please tell your friends, please subscribe, and if you have a moment, I'd be really grateful if you could rate and review, as it helps other people find us and helps me spread the messages of empowerment and positivity that I'm really passionate about. If you want to find out more about me, you can visit my website, www.safeandsupported.co.uk. Until next time, bye.